Splitgate just released a map editor, a map creator, and will it be able to compete with the likes of Halo's Forge, Fortnite Creative, or even the Far Cry editor? Well, for sure, it could beat out the Far Cry editor since Ubisoft threw its editor in the trash with Far Cry 6.
Brutal, savage, wrecked.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Duplication, and today I'm going to be talking about what I like and what I want to see improved in this Splitgate Map Creator. I will be going over all aspects of the editor, but I won't be giving ideas about what to add, such as scripting, terrain, and so on. That will be coming in another video here soon. Instead, I will be strictly talking about how they can improve the UI, objects, and features that they currently have in the map creator so it can have the strongest base possible for future add-ons. Drop a like on this video, sub to the channel for more user-generated content, and ring that bell for future notifications. As usual, a huge thank you to all supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep my channel alive. More on how you can support at the end. For now, let's dig into Splitgate's map creator. So the UI and menus is something the player looks at and interacts with constantly, so that makes this one of the most important things to update in my opinion. First thing I want to state is that I'm very happy they included tips on the side of the screen. This is crucial for first-time creators, but the toggle build mode and menu buttons need to change. While editing, you shouldn't have to move your hand away from the WASD controls to use them. While yes, you can change your key bindings, which I did later, I believe build mode should be the tilde key and the build menu should be tab by default. These buttons aren't currently used for creating and would provide quick access without moving your hand across the entire keyboard. Now, as you move in the build menu, there are two tabs. One is objects and the other is tools. Objects naturally hold anything you could place out on the map. Tools is for editing the object properties while holding onto an object. When you select the Objects tab, you are given the choice between gameplay and objects. This is where I'll make my first change. It seems redundant to have a tab called Objects and then a submenu within that tab also called Objects. What I suggest is taking the gameplay section and moving it to the top as a main tab, so that way the gameplay items will be completely separate from the object tab, and now you'll be able to click the object tabs. It'll go straight to the menu that includes portal walls, blocks, and props. Another section I would add to the main tab is map settings. This can hold any editor settings including magnets, which need to be added to the game in the future, default world rotation and movement options, also environment settings such as lighting, fog, wind, and so on, when that also hopefully gets added to the game one day. So the map setting tab can be implemented once those things are possibly added in the future. While I think the UI and menu changes are important for creators, the object selection and movement system is a close second to me. While using a controller, everything is, for the most part, fine. Think of it like forging in Halo Reach, with the controls and the feel. But on PC with a mouse and keyboard, there really needs some big adjustments. To start off, while moving your mouse, your camera also moves. They are connected, and this is a big problem. Both Halo and Far Cry, but of course not Far Cry 6 because they removed the editor, allow you to move the mouse cursor, without having to move the camera. This will make it easier to adjust the objects while you're trying to build your map or a scene. Also, with the disconnection of the camera and cursor, we need to have the ability to move objects with a move tool. This tool is always shown with arrows on each axis and allows the player to move an object with extreme precision. As well as the move tool, I believe the rotation tools should be added. This would also provide precision like the move tool, and that grants the ability to easily create maps more quickly on PC with a mouse and keyboard. Scaling is a huge feature in map editors and is very important here. While you can scale props and a few portal objects, you can't scale any of the blocks. This includes floors, walls, ramps, or railings. If scaling is going to be added, it is crucial that the player has the ability to scale these objects since they will be the most used, and it would also help reduce the object count so people can make bigger and better maps. Another scaling issue I have involves the rocks, or really most any object that can be scaled, but I'm going to be using the rocks as an example. Currently the rocks start out pretty small. which is nice, but they only scale a little bit over your character's height, and that is just not enough. We need to have those objects to scale much larger. Large rocks are a great way to provide a nice atmosphere around your map, to feel like you're in a living, breathing world, as well as filling in the gaps and providing natural cover. While yes, you can spawn in a bunch to make up a large cliff, it would be more efficient to just scale one rock. Now, if the object texture does get too stretched out the more it's scaled up, I suggest giving players an additional bigger rock to start with and scale larger for the really big cliffs. First, let's talk about duplication, or spawn previous, since that is what it is called in the game. When we duplicate an object, the object should spawn exactly where the selected object is, or at least right next to it. Currently, the duplication object always spawns a certain distance away from your camera, and that makes it tedious to line up objects. Secondly, a quick delete button would be very useful for removing a lot of objects if needed. Right now, we need to grab an object and then hold the delete button. I would prefer just to be able to highlight the object without having to grab it and deleting it. Next is the object spawn position. Currently, all objects spawn in one direction regardless of your camera. These objects always need to spawn towards you, so you won't have to rotate them each time you bring in a new item. Similar to the object spawn position is the grab camera position. Anytime you grab an object, your camera gets thrust to a certain point on the object. This makes it almost impossible to look at some of the objects and line them up perfectly without some sort of grid snap. Wherever we grab an object, our camera should stay in that position while we move or rotate it. This will allow us to move the camera in very close so we can perfectly line up something no matter how big the object is. Another issue is when you initially save your map. There's no way to name your map unless you go back to the menu and click settings. So either we need a way to change the map when you first click save while in the map creator, or a way to change the map name right before you load up the map and start editing. And lastly, we need a budget meter. Currently, there is no way to see how close you are getting to the max amount of objects you can place on a map. On stream, I actually started to place and count to see what the max object budget is, and when I got up to about 400, a developer spoke up in the chat and told me 1200 is the max objects that can be placed on a single map. So please give us a meter so we can actually see our exact object count currently that is on the map. Overall, the map creator is in a great place, and with these fixes, I believe it will be a perfect spot to start adding more features like scripting, terrain, and so on. I know the dev team is passionate and eager to improve this editor, and I can't wait to see what they do. If you want to check out my streams of Splitgate's Map Creator or any other editor, be sure to head over to twitch.tv/Duquesne23, and if you enjoyed this video and want to support, the link to my Patreon page is below. Thank you everyone for coming out, and so be sure to leave a comment about something you want to see added into the creator, or if there was anything at all I missed. Subscribe for more user-generated content, and I will see y'all next time.